Extra, extra, read all about it. What's going on, guys? Tonight we got some news update. Of course, the first month of 2023 is over, and we have a market update. Put your seatbelt on because we might be in for a bumpy road. We're going to go over that tonight. Also, we're caught in this limbo stage with the real estate market, and we're going to break down how did we get in it and how are we going to get out of it. What's going on, guys? My name is Min Win with What's a Mortgage. Welcome to our channel. The goal of our channel is to simplify home ownership. If it's your first time tuning in, do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe or notification button so you are notified every time we go live or post new content. We go live every Monday night on Facebook and YouTube at 9 p.m. and we post content daily on Instagram and TikTok. So if you're not following us on our other channels right now, please go ahead and do so. Also, if this video brings you value, do me a huge favor. Please like the video and tag someone in it that you know that would find this information useful. So the first month is over. Where are we in the housing market? Of course, November came by and all of a sudden the rates went from 7.5 to 6.5, and all of a sudden the market went crazy. What's crazy about it is that inventory is being gobbled up and we're not even in the fives yet. That's the craziest thing about it. But we had a hiccup a couple weeks ago, which is probably going to stall out interest rates coming down sooner than later. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, after they announced that inflation was coming in at a lower pace, everyone was excited, even myself. We only could go off the data, and based on the data, seems like there was light at the end of the tunnel, and I see more and more people apping out like crazy. But then the report came in, the first one, unemployment. Unemployment falls at 3.4%, lowest in 50 years, job report shows. So we gained about 300,000 jobs. We're expecting 200 and some change. We got over 300,000 jobs as expected. So it went way above what we expected. Why is jobs important? So if people have jobs and they're working and they're paying their bills on time, inflation can't come down. I know it sucks. For inflation to come down, people have to lose their job. And they're raising the Fed rate, and it's not causing employment to crash. So that's what's freaking out the market. We saw rates went from 7.5, 6.5 to 5.99, and now back in the mid to high sixes. The market is reacting because they know the Feds will have to keep hiking rates and keep these rates hiked longer because they need the job market to crash. So without the job market crashing, we won't see the rates that we want to see in the future. Of course, like I said, I told you, for rates to get under 5%, we are going to have to see the job market crash. Even though inflation's coming down and housing inflation is coming down, which I am predicting sometime May, June, and July, we'll still see rates in the fives, but we're not going to get these high fours that everyone's talking about because the job market is strong. Even Jerome Powell said it. Jerome Powell braced for a longer inflation fight amid hiring surge. Remember, this surge is not going to allow inflation to get back under 2%. So I was wrong about this. Well, I don't think I'm wrong, but they say I'm wrong. Is that I think normal inflation is going to be above 2%. I think 5%. And the way things are looking right now, it seems like people don't have money to spend and inflation's above 5%. So they're gonna have to do a miracle to bring this inflation back under 5% into 2%. That means we're probably going to be in this inflation fight longer. Does that mean we're not gonna have lower rates in the year? No. That just means we can't get inflation in the 2% sooner than later. Remember, May, June, and July, based on the data at the CPI report, if you look at housing inflation, which makes up 35% of the total CPI inflation. 35% of that should be coming down May, June, and July. Because when you look at the CPI report, that's when housing data was at its peak. Housing inflation was at its peak. So when we replace May, June, and July of 2022 with May, June, and July with 2023, it's going to bring down the average of inflation. And with that coming down, we'll probably see lower rates. But we're probably not going to see rates crash the way a lot of you guys are. I'm just waiting to get rates in the 5s and the 4s so I can buy. That's not going to happen with today's job market. So we are in for a little bit longer ride. It's going to be a bumpy ride. The scary thing right now, and it sucks to say, is that I think people are finally coming to realization that the housing market is not going to crash. So if people have jobs, they're going to make their mortgage payment. They're probably not going to upgrade with higher rates. Why would they pay a higher rate to upgrade? If they have jobs, they don't have to let their houses go. Things might be a little tight at home, but if the job market is strong, people are just going to stay in their house and make their mortgage payment. That's why I'm telling you, we're in housing purgatory. We're not up, we're not down, we're just stuck right now. And that's the biggest challenge our country is running into, is that we are stuck. If they keep raising rates higher, the only reason why they're doing that because the job market is strong. Okay, inflation's coming down, but the job market is strong, so they have to keep raising rates. So if they keep raising rates, eventually people will lose their job. But if the job market stays strong as they keep raising rates, no one's selling because no one wants to upgrade. A lot of people have really low interest rates right now, and that's what's making it hard. 85% of homeowners with mortgages, I'm not talking about the homeowners without mortgages, 85% of the homeowners with mortgages in today's market have interest rates lower than today. Why would they upgrade? Don't forget, 38% of Americans with homes have no mortgage. So we're looking at the 62% of homes with mortgages. 85% of them have lower rates than today's rates. So it would be a significant reason why they need to move. And that's why you're seeing low inventory. If you don't believe me, check the report yourself. Either someone's buying the home or people aren't selling because it's more expensive to upgrade. Talk to anyone who's been in a home for more than 5 years. They are stuck in this purgatory unless they got a huge increase in pay or they bought their home a long time ago and they have a huge down payment. They can afford to upgrade. And we're not seeing a lot of that right now. And that is the biggest challenge we're running into. Okay. And of course, if they raise rates and they raise rates, people finally lose their jobs. It sucks. When people lose their jobs, guess what the market's going to have to do? Guess what the Feds have to do? They have to pivot. If they pivot, rates will come down. If people lose their jobs, they're going to have to sell. And if they sell and the Feds pivot, rates will come down and it will bring more buyers back into the market to absorb those homes. That's why it is really hard to see this market crash. I'm not saying it's impossible, but if job market is strong and they keep raising rates, people stay still, and they can afford their payment because they have a cheaper payment than they would if they upgrade. But if the job market crashes, then the Feds have to pivot, which bring rates down, which people will have to sell if they lose their job, but then you're bringing more buyers back in the market. When rates went from 7.5% to 6.5% from November moving forward, we lost about 126,000 active listings in November, December, and all of January. Now, going into February, it is even crazier. But just remember this. Single-family homes increased 89% or 89% of the 185 metropolitan areas. That's why when you're reading these articles and they're saying housing market's crashing, it's only in specific markets. If you look in an area where there's actually people living there that didn't migrate there because rates were too high and they had to move, those markets are starting to pick up again. On Goldman Sachs, it says San Diego market's going to crash. Are you kidding me? Try writing an offer in San Diego. Okay, you're not going to get your offer accepted at a discount price or at asking price. People are overbidding again. Same thing with Orange County, LA, and parts of Riverside. And if you go up to Northern California right now, San Jose, it's starting to pick up again. Same thing with Arizona. So because we're increasing value and people have jobs, but rates are too high, they're not going anywhere. They're just sitting there. That is our biggest problem right now. We have a lack of inventory because if rates pull down, people jump in. But if rates stay up, you know what the biggest challenge is? We can't build more homes. So if you look at active permits from the new National Association of Home Builders, single family home permits are down. Why would they build homes right now where rates are too high and people can't buy them? They can't keep dropping the price because the cost of material, even though that dropped, the cost of labor did not come down. Until they finish all the projects and maybe people get laid off and then people will take less pay, that might bring construction down. But for now, it's not. They're predicting 616,000 active listings. I mean, new construction. Only 71,000 has been completed. So they have 90% more to complete. So these people need jobs or something's going to happen. But for now, like I said, we're stuck in this weird place. That's why put your seatbelt on, be patient. Check your local market. Remember, real estate is local. Even though overall, I just showed you, 89% of the 185 metropolitan areas, prices are going up. You want to check your local area. Hey, is there a bunch of active listings? I'm not trying to scare anybody here. Is there a bunch of active listings? New active listings? If there are, how about pending sales? Are a lot of homes going to escrow quick? If you had a bunch of active listings, homes are going to escrow quick, and there's tons of price reductions, you might not need to write an offer right now. You could wait. This information might not be for your area. That's why I challenge a lot of trolls and I challenge a lot of people or people sitting on the sideline and they can't decide what they're going to do. Let me wait for rates to drop. Let me wait for prices to drop. Rates went from 7.5, 6.5. Buyers came back in. They're not even waiting for the 5.5 anymore in a lot of markets. People are coming in, and it might not be your market, or it could be your market. The best thing you can do, I challenge anybody who is sitting on the sideline. It's too expensive for me. If it's too expensive for you and you have cheap rent, keep paying that cheap rent and save your money. But if rent keeps going up and you want to eventually live in the area that you want to buy in now, you might need to buy now. The longer you wait, it might force you out. Ask yourself, can your parents or your friends and family who live around you, who bought their home 5 or 10 years ago, could they live in that neighborhood today? I want you to ask yourself that. I'm telling you right now, my parents would not be able to live in California today. We live in Orange County. They bought it for $160. They live out in Orange County, but they would have to move to Arizona or other parts of the United States if they want to be homeowners. So ask yourself that, and that's what I want you to do when you guys are looking and deciding should you buy or not buy. If you don't, that's fine. Just understand, if you can't save enough money at a high velocity, you might not be able to live where you want to live. Unless you're in an area that's not picking up. Idaho, I would relax on Idaho right now, okay? Parts of Arizona, it's picking up, but not crazy yet. So be very careful as you're out there, okay? So, like I said, active listings. So in November, December, January, we lost 26,000 active listings. In the first week of January, we lost 8,600 active listings. 8,600 the first week. We're like, well, it's going to pick up in February. As soon as the holidays are over, it's going to pick back up, right? And I'm showing you guys the number. 8664. That was week 1. Well, it's going to pick up the second week. I can't pull up the article right now, but on the second week, which was last week, we lost 13,238 active listings. You'll see this in my reel tomorrow, by the way. 13,238 active listings. Like I said, rates are going up. People have jobs. They're not upgrading. They're taking their homes off the market. That is a challenge we're running to as a nation. There's real estate purgatory. People have jobs, so they're making their payment. They're not going to upgrade because it costs too much. And people are still entering into the market to buy the home. Maybe not a lot of buyers, but more than there are active listings. And that's why you see prices still pumping. I showed you that article. right? 89% of 185 metropolitan area is still pumping right now. I think as long as rates stay under 7.5, 7%, I think we saw 7% today. I think they're gonna have to keep rates above 7.5 to see prices come down. I don't think it's gonna come down significantly, but it should bring it down a bit. So, I feed you information based on the data I collect. And before this jobs report, the data that I collected showed me rates are going to come down. But with the job market being strong, it would be hard to see rates come down. But our biggest challenge right now is the lack of inventory. Yes, Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve, they effed it up. They said inflation was transitory, which means temporary, but it's not. So they should have hiked rates in 2020, 2021, at least beginning of 2021. And they didn't do that. So they put this country in a really bad situation. That's why all of the metrics that, in 10 years, what goes up must come down. I agree. But the biggest challenge is we printed. We didn't just bring rates down to zero. Okay? So there's one law. Everyone's holding on that one rule. What goes up must come down. Remember 2008? Everyone holds on to that one significant year, right? 2008, 2007, 2008, 2009. I remember that. It's going to happen again. But everyone forgets all the other rules. Everyone forgets that in 1971, we started printing money. And you know what happens when you start printing money? Things get inflated. The last 2 years, we printed 80% of the United States currency in 2 years. So that $100 you have in your pocket, I say it all the time, 80% of that $100 doesn't belong in your pocket. It just got printed. So imagine all that money that flooded the United States. It got absorbed into assets. That's what drove up value. They need to suck the shit out of this country, money out of this country, for this to come down. So that happened. So people forget that happened. Everyone's like, no, remember 2008? Well, that law happened, but we printed a lot of money. Also, you know what became very popular? You and me can find our own homes on the internet. Not just us, everyone around the world. So if everyone in the world can bid for something now, wouldn't it drive up the value because you have more chances of more buyers? Right? So think about that. Supply and demand. Back before Zillow was big, Redfin, even though it was big, in the late 90s, but the technology they have today, if someone missed a mortgage payment, well, you could buy the data. So people are already calling them to try to buy the house from them. If a home goes on the market here, someone in China, which you guys saw that report I put out today, right? China's getting upset that Florida and Texas are trying to lobby to pass a law saying that Chinese citizens cannot buy homes in Florida and Texas. But right now, they still can, even though it's a rule, it hasn't passed yet. Around the world, in Germany, Australia, Russia even, if there's a home that goes for sale in the United States, they can buy it. And these countries, and every smart person knows that United States printed so much money, it's going to drive up rent. Okay, single family homes have become assets to these hedge funds. Think about this. Wall Street is raising $110 billion to buy 400,000 more homes, single family homes in the United States. Right now, these hedge funds own 3% of the housing market. By 2030, they want to own at least 40% of the rental market. So like I said, single family rents have been classified as assets now. So with all that happening, that's why it is so hard to see rent come down. Not saying that rent can't deflate just a bit, okay? Doesn't mean things can't deflate just a bit, but overall, it is hard. That's why to see 2008 happen, it can happen. But to see it happen would be really hard because of all this information I just shared with you. And the reason why I'm sharing you this information, because I don't want you to have wishful thinking. I don't want you to sit on the fence and like, Min, why didn't you tell me? You sat on the sidelines, but you were so afraid to go online. Who's afraid to go online right now and look to see what's available? It's probably a skeleton crew, right? You probably don't see a lot of homes. And the homes you do see that are sitting there, the seller is pretty much not reasonable or it's not turnkey. And in your mind, you can't imagine paying a high rate and that price for a home is not turnkey. I get it. You should look into a renovation loan though. But I get it. So if you're sitting on the sidelines and you qualify, I would look at my local searches and see maybe you shouldn't be sitting. And if you look in the market and it's sitting, then chill out. But right now we're stuck in this weird place. And I don't know what it needs to happen. But if rates pull back, then I'm sure a lot of people lost their jobs, but more buyers will enter back in and people will rush in again. And we just saw that 2 weeks ago, right? Up till 2 weeks ago, so many people applied. My application skyrocketed. And even now, when rates are back at the high since people are still applying today. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen, okay? Here we go. Housing market shows signs of thawing. It is thawing out. These are all recent articles from last week, by the way, that I pulled up, and I do my money market update, and I put them all here together just for you to let you know, hey, you might need to check your local listings, and it might be hard, but if you want to own a home, not saying that you have to, then you might need to go out there and see for yourself, and just understand that we're in this weird place in our country. If you want to blame somebody, blame Jerome, okay? Blame the feds. They sat there and they didn't do anything about it. And now we're in this place where you either need to move further away or embrace renting. All right, guys? Hopefully this information helps you out. Hopefully this information empowers you so you can do something about it. I'm not saying you got to buy. You might need to go out there and check. Like, hey, this is way out of my league, but I want to live here. Cool. Find a new place, lock in a long-term rent so rent doesn't keep going up on you. But if you want to own a home, the forces are not there, okay? Yes, we are all hoping for 2008. Think about this. If there was a reset button, imagine if someone hit reset right now, okay? If people hit reset right now, don't forget 85% of homes with mortgages have rates lower than today. So they don't give a F if there was a reset button. If you resetted all the values and brought all the values home down, people would still stay in their house and make their mortgage payment. Okay? The people who bought their home the last 6-8 months make up only 2%. 2% of the homes sold with high rates. 2%. So it's they can't stay like this forever. There has to be a reset. Only 2% of homes that were bought in the last 6 months make up all the homes out there. Okay? Don't forget, 38% don't have mortgages. The other 85% have lower rates than today's rates. So you have the information. Hopefully you take it and you do what's best for you and your family. All right. If you have some questions, please leave a comment below. If I did bring you value, do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe or notification button. Also, tag someone on this video if you know they are sitting on the sideline. And if they're sitting on the sidelines and they can't make a decision, this is the video they need to watch. Because this will encourage them to do the research. I'm not encouraging you to make a decision. I'm encouraging you to do the research. All right, guys? Some Q&A here. Was this valuable information? Let me know. Quentin, what's going on? Mary Anna, what's going on? Robert, Walmart is closing down. Wow. Are they going all internet-based? Brittany, if we purchase in May and June, when do you predict would be a good time to refinance in the future to lower your rate? Brittany B, if you close May or June, I would do a temporary buy down if a seller is willing to pay. Do a 2-1 buy down or a 3-2-1 buy down, depending on your down payment. You will probably see, I still think rates will come down in the middle of the year, but let's say I'm wrong. But I know, everyone knows inflation's out of control right now. And everyone knows they're going to bring inflation down. And they keep hiking rates, and eventually inflation will come down. And when it does, just refinance. Maybe at the end of the middle to the end of the year, I think. Okay? As soon as they can crack this job market. I still think without the job market crashing, they can still get rates into the 5s. But with the job market crashing, we might see high to mid 4s. And I think that's what most people are waiting for them to buy. But Brittany, you do not want to be in that position, right? If you have a stampede of people coming in to buy a home, but you already own yours and you just refinance. So Brittany, I'm not understanding how job report is so strong when companies were laying people off. So Brittany, I believe The job report is fake news, right? I don't want to say that out loud and get banned, but I think it's fake news. But they are saying because most of the tech industry that got laid off have severance packages. So we're not seeing all that yet. And they can't guesstimate that when their severances are over. Okay, that's number one. Number two, immigration. I think this has been probably the largest year of immigrants coming to the United States, taking up a lot of jobs. And that's why we have so many hires. We underestimated by 300,000 jobs. That is insane. Even though people are getting laid off, people are getting part-time jobs. They're getting second jobs. Immigrants are getting jobs. There's people in the tech industry probably have the biggest layoff. They're getting severance packages, so they haven't started taking unemployment yet. That's why, Brittany, I still think it's fake, but it is what it is, right? I think it should be crashing by now. The market for first-time buyers has been so crazy. Been on the sidelines just watching and saving more down payments to try to get in the game, but it's very discouraging. We have stable income, but still feeling discouraged. Quentin, I completely agree with you. Okay, hopefully you are saving enough where you're compounding your money and you're saving a big amount of money so you can enter back in when rates pull back. But just remember, Quentin, when rates pull back, you're probably gonna have to fight with more buyers. If it was me, you might want to look somewhere else and get something and then upgrade later on. Okay, if you have the income, you have the assets, and there is something closer you can get or a little further out, but you can use it one day to upgrade, great. But if you want to time the market and wait for rates to pull back, you can do that as well. Only you know what's best for you and your family, okay? Houston Teamer, what's the prediction for the effects of tomorrow's CPI report? So, Houston, great question. They are predicting CPI to come in lower tomorrow, but I think it's going in lower by like 0.3 or 0.2. They need more than that to move the needle. So even if it comes down, it's not going to come down some significant amount, and that's why in March, we are probably going to see a 0.5% rate hike. If CPI comes in tomorrow under 6%, maybe we can probably wait it. They probably do a quarter. But I think, so it was at what, 7.1? They're going to need that bad, 7.1 to 7.4, okay? They're going to need that bad boy to be at least 6.5 to see them do a quarter, which I don't think is going to happen. The reason why, this is just my guess, okay? This is not, some things I'll tell you I pull the data on. Like all that other information, I'm throwing out numbers, they pull the data on. I can tell because the 10-year bond is already staying above 3.7. With the 10-year above 3.7, you'll probably see also people's earnings report kind of crashing a little. I can probably tell you that inflation is not going to come down a lot tomorrow. And that's probably why we're seeing the 10-year above 3.7. Okay? So I think it's going to come in a little low, but not low enough. Hopefully that helps you out. I really appreciate these live videos. I'm looking forward to them coming Monday. Thank you so much, Quentin. I do my best, guys. If you enjoy the information, do me a huge favor. Please like this video. And if you're not following me, please follow me. Are contingent sales harder in a buyer's market? Yes. In a buyer's market, they are harder because they got, well, in a buyer's market or in a seller's market, yes. Because in a buyer's market, the seller needs to find another property. And it's a little bit easier to find a property in a buyer's market. It's not going to be easy in a seller's market, okay? In a seller's market, if they sell it, they got to still find a home. So actually, think about it. Well, let me rewind this. So it all depends. In a buyer's market, it all depends. A new person can find a home pretty quick in a buyer's market. In a seller's market, even though you might love a home, you want to buy it, the seller still got to find a home. And sometimes they can in a seller's market. In a buyer's market, it's a little bit easier. Hopefully that helps you out. Min does live on Instagram, TikTok too. Yes. I go live on Instagram. I go live on TikTok Mondays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. and Tuesdays on TikTok Mondays and Wednesdays on TikTok and Tuesdays on Instagram. Hopefully that helps you out. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoy the information. Hopefully this gives you the information you need to make the best decision for you and your family. All right, guys. So once again, if you do need to go hold of me, you want to go over should you buy or not buy in your area, give us a call, 714-790-9697. You can also send us an email at info@whatstthemortgage. I need the bedroom and bath count. I need the zip code. I need your price point, because sometimes in that zip code, different price points we'll decide if it's a buyer or seller, not market, but in that price point, okay? So that's why you got to reach out. If you want to know, I qualify, but should I pull the trigger or not? The only way to find out is to give us a call or send us a text message. All right, guys? And again, I want to thank you guys all for watching. We want to end all our episodes with our attitude is gratitude. Without you, there is no us. So thank you guys so much and have a great night. Oh, wait, one last thing. If you are in LA County, this Thursday in Long Beach, I have a buyer seminar. If you plan on buying a house in 2023 or 2024, come to Long Beach, check out my buyer seminar. We're going to go over why you should buy, and should you wait or not wait, and how do you prepare yourself to buy a home. So definitely, it's going to be this Thursday if you're in Long Beach at 6 p.m. Send me a DM and I will send, or a call or text, and I will send you the address and the information. All right, guys? Thank you once again. We want to end all our episodes with our attitude is gratitude.